I'll probably say this again at some point, but thank you guys so much for this, because it's the first time that while I was writing anything, that just for visuals, I was completely alone in my room, crying, doubled over, laughing with my laptop on my lap, like screaming at the sky.
I may or may not have took a little sneak peek to see some of the stuff you have written, and some of it had me doing the same. I didn't read everything, but I read little snippets.
It just got really chaotic very quickly, and I don't know what happened. I'm sorry.
Somebody want to give me a timestamp? It's been a while since we've done one of these.
Yeah. It is currently 8:53, and you're listening to Camille's Harem.
Hello YouTube, Nate here. This is very much different from our usual content. This is usually something that we would typically have up on our podcast, which this is, but we wanted to share this with the rest of the world, and we felt like YouTube was a great place to share this. So this is very different. It's very long, but this is an absolute blast and definitely worth your time. Down in the description, I have timestamps for all the different things. As always, leave us a like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help us out a ton. Anyway, back to the show. Welcome to Camille's Harem, a podcast by and for novice writers, because writing is an adventure. It's a lot more fun with friends, but don't worry, because we're just as lost as you are. This is exciting. This is going to be a lot of fun. We have with us the one, the only, Zaza, our good buddy.
My name is Zaza. I'm an alien from the planet Nunya, who the harem keeps locked in their basement to run all kinds of scientific experiments on to find the best story plots on this side of the galaxy. It's quite gruesome, but I'm happy to be here.
That was perfect.
People don't need to know.
We now have to kill every single person who listened to this.
You have 3 days to show somebody else this podcast, or you will die the ring style.
End my suffering. End my suffering. All right. Anyway, yeah, happy to be here. I'm very excited.
We are very excited to have you on, because today we are doing our favorite thing in the whole world, which is a writer's roulette. And this one's extra fun because Zaza participated in this, and we got to use my still in beta production writer's roulette website. And so
It's amazing.
I'm very excited.
Worked pretty well, actually. I was impressed.
Well, thank you. I just need to figure out how to actually get it onto the web, because apparently that's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
Well, you know, Nate, it's a good thing that this episode is sponsored by Squarespace. If only.
If only.
I'm kidding. That's not real.
I wish it was Squarespace. Please, whoopsies. Please sponsor us.
Please sponsor us.
Anybody, please sponsor us.
You want to know what's annoying? You want to know what's so freaking annoying? YouTube puts tons and tons of ads on all of our videos, and we don't get any of that.
I'm not gonna lie, I have YouTube Red, so I have never.
Same.
I forgot that YouTube has ads.
Well, for me and Lars, the plebs here.
I was watching a video with my teacher's account, and just suddenly, boom! It sounds like, oh, I forgot about this. I was like, wait, what? What did they put ads on our videos? We're not monetized.
That doesn't make any sense. Who's taking the money? Someone here's benefiting.
YouTube is pocketing all of this cash, and then they write articles saying that they're in debt. I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, okay. Think about it for a second, though. Not just to play devil's advocate here. Think about how many trillions of gigabytes of just random people's random video that they have to pay for to have on a server. True. You know what I mean? So it's like, it makes sense that they're trying to recuperate some of their losses. Granted, most of the money, like most of that comes from like bigger YouTubers, you know, with their ad revenue or whatever, you know, but it's like somebody has to pay for that. And so, you know, the fact that we have a free platform to put all these videos on for other people to see, let them have ads for it. I don't like, even if we don't get a cent of it, at least we can share it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my mentality.
All right,
I'd like that money, please, and thank you. But
what's YouTube ever really done for me?
Yeah. It's not like I spend hours a day watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, exactly.
For free.
It's not like I almost had like a withdrawal when my phone automatically undownloaded YouTube from me because I ran out of storage on my phone. That definitely didn't happen.
Oh.
No, I got it back, but it was at a price. I deleted like half my apps. I was like, I just need YouTube back. I'm sorry.
It came at a price. Wow. Well, having YouTube is indeed a wonderful thing. So,
yeah.
Anyway, Writer's Roulette.
This is Writer's Roulette. If this is the first time you've ever joined us for a Writer's Roulette, this is how it works. The rules are very simple. A writer is given a page that was written by the previous writer, who then writes a page and passes it on to another writer. However, the next writer is only allowed to read what is written on the last page. So it's kind of like the game Telephone in the sense of you're trying to figure out what the story is as it goes through, but you're given so little context to what in the world is happening. To complicate matters further, we've also added an additional rule where we are not allowed to use the backspace, which causes some very odd mistakes and funniness. And so this is going to be a rip-roaring good time.
Yeah, I was told this was a murder mystery. The page I was given was not that, but I was all here for it.
Yeah, I think the murder mystery kind of ended real quick.
Yeah, it went from murder mystery to Doctor Who to I don't even know where it went from there.
Definitely some sort of supernatural something or other.
Shenanigans.
All right.
Camille.
Yeah. Camille took us in a whole new direction.
And I thank her for that.
She really zagged on us there. I appreciate this.
She did no zig, she does zag. Oh my gosh. I'm looking at the first page. I'm the one who wrote the first page, and I forgot just how many mistakes I made in the first page. I'm usually better than this.
I quickly flubbed everything. So let's just get into it. Let's just jump into it.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's give out the prompt real quick. This is the prompt that we were given. This is the only bit of information we know besides what was written on the last page. So,
read it in a spooky narrator voice.
Yeah. The year is 1830. Wimbley Wallamby is a detective for the Scottish Yard, with his spunky junior detective, nervous yet observant, on his first case in the countryside after being transferred from the south. He usually deals with sailors, thugs, and factory workers, but not this time. After receiving a call from shepherds out on the moor, he finds himself at the scene of a crime. On a desolate road, a man is found dead, carriage turned over, horse missing, lantern broken, and no sign of a fire. Dun dun dun!
So we've got numerous characters already coming up in this first page right here. We have a shepherd, we have Wimby Wallamby, the inspector / detective Wimby Wallamby, and we then have Constable Edinburghshire.
What?
That's definitely not the name it stuck with.
That's not at all what I was given.
Well, this is interesting. The fact that on the very first page we're learning things about the story that should be integral.
And you're sure through all of this chaos that we are capable of taking turns switching out characters?
We're not switching out characters. We're just switching out.
Switching characters. All right, switching out. Got it.
Yeah, we're just switching out narrators.
I'm learning.
I mean, this is the first time we've ever done the switch out the narrator thing. Normally, it's been Lars doing a great job, but I also
I feel bad for making Lars do all of it. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Inspector Wimby Wallamby made his way out onto the moor, followed closely by Constable Edinburghshire, to rope off the scene of the death. The townsfolk were already calling it a murder, but Wimby Wallamby knew better than to jump up to a conclusion without facts, even if his tendency to jump at the smallest thing earned him the nickname Insoector Twitchy. They soon found the site. Turned over and laying at the side of the muddy road was a cart. Its wheels were broken, but curiously spinning in the chilled breeze. Fog was rolling in, almost obscuring the dead body splayed out in the middle of the road. His horse was nowhere to be found, and a broken lantern was in his hands. Glass was everywhere, but there was curiously no sign of a fire, despite the presence of oil.
Oi, reckon that be Daniel at McElgan?
The shepherd said. The elderly man had been the one to find the body and raise the alarm.
I'll set it to Robin off the side.
McEdinburghshire declared with gumption. That was perfect. As As Wallenby's junior partner out here in the sticks, he was eager to make a good impression.
Be sure to leave plenty of room for us to look for clues and to ward off busybodies.
Wallenby instructed.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
That was really good. That was really good.
Excuse me, sir. But when the woman in turns find what happened here? I don't know what this accent is. You can be that all over more.
Is he from like the backwoods of Louisiana?
I think so. Or he had a lobotomy. I'm probably both.
He's having a
the Moors of Louisiana.
Yeah. I told you I can't do a Scottish accent.
We take authenticity very seriously.
Yeah.
The truth is, I could do a Scottish accent, but I wanted to hear this. I wanted to hear your take.
I just do whatever comes to me. I never plan my voices. They always are just in the moment, whatever feels right. And that did not feel right, but that's what came in the moment.
It felt good. All right, let's continue.
All right. The shepherd's sudden input caused Wallenby to jump and drop his notepad and charcoal into the mud.
So long as we find what we need, but I fear for the constitutions, really.
Wallenby said hurriedly. He went to inspect the body.
Upon closer inspection, Wallenby could see that the man's skin had become very pale, with a tinge of blue. His eyes opened toward the sky with a bulge and a haunting stare. Dirt covered his knees and the front of his shirt like he had taken a small tubble in the mud.
Old McGurkin is looking a wee scabby, eh?
McKenna Bolshire said, besire Wallenby.
I doesn't look too good.
Not at all, considering he's dead.
Wallenby leaned down and moved his fingers at the man's neck, pulling down his collar to check for further signs of a struggle. Unlink his pale skin. Everyone aware else on his face. His neck had distinct red marks.
Strangled?
McKenna Bolshire questioned.
I think I had decided to try and make Wallenby Scottish here, even though he's not, so...
Alright, give it
that's what it looks like. We're doing the Cockney accent now.
But who would want to murder a cold man in cold blood? Judging from his clothes and carriage, the didn't look to be rich, and was it worth killing a man just to steal a horse? And even with the mud and fog and threat of more rain, he would have expected the broken lantern to be more of an issue. No end of it added up.
Oh, that's me. Sorry, I'm holding. What secrets did you have, McGurkin?
That's his Twitch name.
Wallenby muttered under his breath.
And were they worth killing you over then?
In order to learn more about the Victoinum, he needed to talk to the Sherarded and see what he knew about him, as well as the others in the village. Before doing so, however, he needed to glean all that he could from the body and surroundings.
If you have a what was it, a Victorium?
Victoinum.
If you have a Victorium, please contact your Shiaoport today, because you may be entitled to financial compensation. To learn more about your Victorium.
Yeah, I took McEdenboshire and my Victorium away.
The horse missing can't be overlooked.
He pointed out to McEden Shore.
It was Altact. It was Altact to the carriage, and wouldn't have escaped on its own easily, and there's no sign that it broke our way from its harness.
The killer broke the horse out. Why?
That's just one of many questions I have.
Wembley said.
Actually, that's Wimby.
Oh, that is Wimby. Oh, maybe I shouldn't be reading. Let me get my screen close to my face so I can... There we go.
Good to see you, Wallenby.
What's the matter with Wembley?
How long do you think the body has been sitting here?
McEldenshire pondered, looking at the wreckage. Wembley looked over the crime scene again, trying to figure out how long it had been. It had been 3 hours since the shepherds had been able to get a hold of him, and it sounded like they'd found the body some 3 hours before that. The body was cold enough in the midday light that it must have had time to cool all night long before finally being found in the wee morning hours.
I would assume that the body has been out all night, and the strangling of McGurkin happened just after sunset last night.
Wimby said.
There you go. The strangulation marks on his neck look like they'd been done by someone with small but absurdly strong hands.
McEldenshire looked under the man's clothes, trying look for some sort of the marks and report a negative in the Ferrarid.
McGurkin seems to have some love of marks on his chest.
What?
Some love marks? Why I think it could have been a jealous husband?
Or a very ticked off matron. I can't say for sure what the motive is until I know more about the scene.
Wimby said.
Wimby.
Why do I keep putting an L in there?
It's only natural.
Yeah. Try and call the shepherd over, and we'll hear the lad's side of the story.
The shepherd was reluctant to come near the body again, but McGuffkin pressurated the boy with a sharp wit and an even sharper knife to participate momentarily in the investigation.
I have no idea what's going on.
I feel like that was the hardest left McEdinburghshire's name.
Yeah. And now he's like pulling out a knife on a boy.
Well, and the shepherd at the start was an old man, and now it's a young boy.
I think that's why I'm confused. I'm like, who are you?
Look, kid, we just want to talk. What's your name, me boy? I guess my talking has changed again.
It's Mr. Krabs now.
This is still in...
What's your name, me boy?
There's no closing quotation marks, so you're going to have to keep going.
Okay. What's your name, me boy? Wimby asked.
I guess
I narrate this?
Turley Junior Senior Junior.
The hell?
The boy sighed quietly.
Did you know Mr. McGurkin?
Wimby asked.
I'd seen him pass by this road every night on his way to the town of Hallenshire with an empty cart.
Turley replied.
Have you ever seen him with a full cart or anyone in tow?
No, sir.
Turley Junior Senior Junior replied.
Do you know what town the man originates from? Wait, do you know what town the man originates from?
McEdinshire asked.
Hallenshire, sir, but it seemed like he always went up to the small hamlet of Greghold during the day.
Who put that in here? She said.
Don't he ever speak with you at length?
No, sir, only in passing. Most days he's a right surly fella.
Did that change at all recently?
He was whistling quite a lot during the last fortnight, if I remember right.
Turley said.
Thanks for your time, boy.
Wimby said.
Well, McEdinshire.
Wimby said. There's not a single vowel. Yeah, there's not a single vowel in that name.
There are 2 places that we can go, or will need to go.
Hallenshire was the closest of the 2 locations, but the people of Greghold might be more open to being questioned. I'm sorry for whoever takes this page. This was mine.
Oh, God.
That's a lot of red.
I actually do you want me to take a shot this time?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Are you feeling brave?
I've already been reading not good, so let's do this.
Perfect.
Oh,
We won't know the difference.
I just saw how you wrote Hallenshire.
This is great.
All right, here we go. After the shepherd Turnley walked all way, Wimby was left with not much more than what he started with, scratching at his beard, which wasn't really a beard. It was really just stubble since he was rushed to the Senise early in the morning. He was without the chance to shave. Hue tapped his chin while going through his mind with all of, the possibilities.
All the possibilities.
All the possibilities.
Bad Flynn. Well, I gotta say this one word. We knew that McGurkin had often traveled to Hallenshire since it was hometown.
Wimbley said. I guess I'm still doing this too. True, but why with an empty cart? McEdinshire reported. That wasn't a mystery, ought me.
You have to say yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that too is what I found odd.
Master Wombly said.
But I cannot figure out if that is pertinent to our current conundrum.
Oh, God.
How do I know if I'm pregnant?
Help me clean up YouTube. Well, never. Can't make. How do you make the sound of an equal sign?
I thought that was pretty good.
That's excellent.
Thank you. I have to start talking in wingdings. Well, never equal sign Ming. That is nothing. Just a stupid idea. Eldenshire said, wringing his hands around his cap.
Literally don't know what's going on in this page.
I don't either. And I'm the one who wrote it.
If you have some idea, I'd love to hear it.
It's just, what if there was something valuable in his cot this time? Wimbley hummed.
Most certainly. I guess you really don't need an I in certainly.
No.
It gets the point across.
It does.
So.
Yeah.
Good job,
Stanley.
Hey, I did it.
That most certainly is the case. Look at the markings in the baseboard of the cart. Whoever
French.
strangled my gherkin must have been looking for something of value hidden in the secret compartment. After all, why would McGurkin bring his empty cart back and forth between towns unless there was something of value hidden out of eyesight?
Good lord, man, why were you writing this so fast? Were you trying to write this with your breath held? What was the relationship?
This is just how I type. I'm such a, I'm just used to, autocorrect fixing things for me. But of course, the site doesn't have autocorrect for a very specific reason.
Just
all right, I gotta write.
One of these.
I'm gonna write this while holding my breath the entire time. It was around here that you started blacking out.
Yeah, just about.
All right. Yes, exactly what I was thinking. McEndenshire exitedly hopped onto his feet, looking up at Wimbley with the twinkle of excitement in his eyes. This is you, Wimby.
You are a good mind and have eyes. Don't ever be afraid to share what you are thinking.
That's a shirt.
McEldingshire looked down with his cheeks turning of tomato red.
Turning a shat of tomato red.
Don't you just hate it when you get that embarrassed?
When you just
That's my
shat
least
tomato red.
favorite chat.
Good, miss,
A voice came from behind Wimble. He jumped spinning around, seeing the shepherded Turley Jr. standing before them again.
What are you doing back here?
Dia died, Wimbley suddenly getting nervous and clammy again.
I thought of something else that I should have told you. I forgot earlier.
Turley Jr. said.
Oh, just kidding. This is Turley Jr. That's okay.
Wait, you said it.
It's fine. He's just trying some things out. He's trying out voices. It's fine. In
He
canon.
went through puberty in like 3
Yeah, this guy's the age. He's now going through puberty. He's having a rough day.
Interacting with the Beeple was not Wimbley /S strong sir. It's weird. But if there was a trail to follow, he lived for this. Excitedly, he leaned forwards. Any uncomfort from being around the Shapird had vanished in the hunt for the mystery.
Yes, 'tis it, lad. Tell me.
All right, who's reading now? All right, Shepherd.
Well, I guess this is the shepherd, yeah. Well, I heard there was goats, you see, and one of them was chewing on something.
The shepherd said, The shepherd said, pulling a piece of cloth of his pocket. Pocketin. Wimbley's quick walk over. Wait, Wimbley's quickly walked over and took the piece of cloth from the man.
What does this have to do with anything in the kism?
He said, looking the piece of fabric over. It was a dark fabric made from durable cloth and worn material, definitely used for work clothing. Oh no.
You see, the goats in these high 8 ills don't really like anyone except me and my wife.
He said, looking at the piece of fabric again.
Whenever they see some person inside the area, well, inside my fields, they get all crazy and book.
So what you're telling me is this piece of frap rice is from the writ sources of once of the people that attack our mysteries vidcom.
Wembley acclaimed, excitement filling his eyes. Shepherd.
Precisely, sir.
The shepherd said.
Anywho, I should be going to help out the missus with the farm and whatnot. Hopefully you gents find something of use.
I guess you can spell use that way.
Use.
to the area soon.
He said, walking away. Wembley was ecstatic to find that something else had surfaced for this case. They were getting one step closer to finding out who and what did this to this poor man in his cart. Now Jato find out what happened to the rest of the cart. Wembley turned around again, looking over the cart once more. Around the car were a few more pieces of fabric strewn around. This had to be more of the poor soul's trousers that did this. Trousers did this. He thought to himself, now we have to figure out where to go from here.
Trousers did this.
Trousers did this.
Wembley walked over to the cart, checking Tio, making sure that M. McEdenboshire had properly roped everything off. He called the young man over to him so they could check for more clues. The pieces of dark fabric had his mind turning. The material was hardy and meant for a worker. It shouldn't be that easy to shred and scatter.
We're going to need to find some of these scraps for evidence. I have contacts back in the city who might be able to tell us more about the fabric.
Wembley told this junior.
Well, I think that we should consult a weaver in tune.
Edinburghshire responded.
Could be the love called that and might give us a better clue.
Which is why we need to collect as much of it as possible.
Wembley explained patiently.
Also, check for signs of blood or anything else suspicious.
He approached the cart carefully, watching the wheels still turn in the wind. He checked the wheels where they had cracked. There were jagged grooves in an irregular pattern. Using a blade from his pocket, he measured their depths. Again, they were irregular, but they went as deep as 2 inches. Peculiar and disturbing. And where was the horse? A beast that size and able to pull a cart as large as this one couldn't have gone far if the cart was this badly damaged, considering it was probably harnessed to the load, and where were all the goods?
I'm sorry. And where were the horse? Less than question mark?
Less than question mark. We're not really questioning this here.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah. Wembley
This
did not
cancels
like...
out it.
Yeah. Wembley did not like much being out on the misty moor when the clues and questions were amounting to something more out of a black fairy tale than in something real and concrete. This puzzle already had him more stumped than anything the yard had sent him to investigate back in the city.
Here we go.
I can tell why. It's like he's having a seizure this entire story. All right. Do you feel like we've inspected this scene, Wembley?
McEldenboshire pointed out.
I feel like we've been looking over this. How long have we been out here?
That's...
Wallenby paused. He had already asked himself these 3 questions before. Much like the fog that surrounded them, he felt as though his mind was in a fog as well. The longer they inspected the body and the cart, the more and more confused he became. The time of day...
Because...
The what?
The more confused because. Thank you.
My dyslexia is on complete or not auto whatever.
Dyslexia is all the problems.
Yeah.
My dyslexia is on.
I know. I read my page and I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This makes perfect sense to me. The time of day hadn't seemed to change. So, surely there was no way that they had been out here long. A faint shiver went up his spice.
His spins.
Spins.
Ew. Somewhat of his spins.
Yeah, I just hate it when a server goes up my spins.
It went up your spins.
That's really gross. Something went up his spins. Ew, look away.
Went right up it. He checked his pocket watch. The small hand had not moved since they had checked it when they first arrived to the scene.
Mick Edinburgh, Shire. What does your pocket watch say?
The junior detected hurriedly pulled his out.
9:30. Wait.
He scrunched his face in confusion.
Confusing.
I like it when I confuse.
That's the time it was when we first got here, isn't it?
But of our watches stopped working the moment we arrived on the scene.
He turned to the shepherd.
Do you have a pocket watch?
Can't say I do.
Do you frequent this area?
This is just along the edge of where my herds graze, so not too often. His brow furrowed, and he had a slight frown on his face. Why, sir, is there something wrong? Wallenby stood up and tried to maintain his calm demeanor. And
Having an aneurysm, I'm sorry.
And he stepped past the sheepherds. He traveled down the road from whence they came earlier that morning, shouldering his pocket in front of him, keeping an eye on it to see if it would startly yicking again. Yicking. He heard hurriedly Forotoey steps.
What are you doing?
McEdinboshire said, coming up beside him.
McEdinboshire.
Wallenby looked up from his watch to his worried junior detective, then to his confused shepherdie up ahead on the road.
I don't think we're safe here right now.
Wallenby started to move quicker and quicker, trying to get away from scene to the rhyme.
What do you think it is?
McEdentire asked.
It's an impossibility.
Wimbley replied.
There's a reason there was no fire that had already burned out. There had been a murder and a theft of the house, but soon after time stopped and its movement in the location of the crime scene.
Isn't it that beneficial to our investigation, though, sir? Oh, God.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to say that again. I'm sorry.
That's me, sir. McIdenine Your favorite boy.
What a good boy.
He's a good boy.
Oh, where are we?
Wait, no. This is Wallenby. This is Wallenby. Or Wimbley, whatever his name is now.
Oh, yeah, okay. I just read The Little Shepherd Boy. His age fluctuates.
Yeah.
It doesn't even work here.
Wimbly Wombly, McIdenine Shinery, and the time-shifting lad.
That's a little boy. When it suits him. I don't wish to be close to the scene anymore.
He said. The little shepherd boy chased after them, a small smile on his face.
How'd you get so tiny?
Ah!
I thought you were a man.
Sorry. A child.
No.
Shepherd boy, what do you know?
Wallenby asked.
Oh yeah, Wallenby asked. No demanded with gusto.
The Moor plays tricks on all who enters.
What the frick?
He replied.
We all suffer its intrusions as we live upon it. You just have to get used to it. I myself am over 800 years old, but I look older than 13.
I was 800 years old a second ago.
Yeah.
It makes sense now. All an impossibility, I'm sure.
Wallenby shuddered.
It's just been me and the dead body for the last 800 years, sir.
He said.
The Horosaurus was the only part of the item that hadn't been affected.
And now we are too.
And just his pants whined.
How do pants whine? And then shits. I didn't notice that.
His pants whined. so bad. Who wrote this?
Guilty. I'm sorry.
Oh my god,
Camille. That previous page, I was so like, what is going on here? Like, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna follow the theme.
oh my god.
As you should.
Yeah, I was just like, I gave up trying to like care about it, and so I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make up crap.
All right, Nathan, you're up.
Where?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm afraid that's the case.
I'm afraid that is the case.
The boy that lived for now 1,800 years, assassin. Wallenby stopped in his tracks some miles away from the scene of the crime. His watch had not ticked once in the entire time he'd walked. He looked back and gasped at seeing the cart and the same dreadful expanse of the Moor set as he had spent for the past few hours. He stared at the crime scene.
We're stuck. Like, really stuck.
Wallenby said.
Welcome to the party. Why is
The
this turning
Shepherd
into
boy
Tim
said.
Curry?
Because Tim Curry would voice this character.
It's morphing into Tim Curry before my eyes. It's horrible.
Can't imagine Tim Curry as a little boy.
He just had the same face, but like a younger body, and everyone was very
He
uncomfortable.
just grew.
Yeah, but he was born with that signature goatee and the smile.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's true. It's true. They did a whole documentary on it. It was really good. It was on Netflix. Did you guys see it?
I got so much to catch up on.
All right, continue. The shepherd boy.
It's
Shepherd
been a
Jim Curry
long.
said.
It's been so long since I've had someone real to talk to. Oh,
Oh,
Sus.
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 We only have one thing that we can do, and then we just hope and pray that it will answer our problem. Free us of this cursed location.
Wimbley said.
We must solve the case of the man dead right here. Others we are doomed to the same life that the shepherd boy had started with.
He again started to examine the scene, gathering all the evidence he'd thought up until now, and decided it was time to solve the case once and for all.
Pretty simple once you think of it.
Wimbley said.
The man was strangled by someone of greater strength and by smaller nature than himself. The culprit might actually be here with us at the scene of the crime. Isn't that right, little shepherd boy?
Wallenby said. Bam, bam, bam.
How could a little child like myself murder a man that has much larger than me?
So bad.
The shepherd boy said, gazing to the eyes of Wallenbilly. Wobby Wobby
That was my favorite.
Harry Potter must not go to the moor.
Wobby is
Wobby.
Wobby free and free.
Bad Wobby. Very bad Wobby.
Master has given Wobby a sock.
Wobby's stuck in a time loop.
Just little side note right here. It amuses me to think that the Malfoys had a house elf do everything in the house other than their laundry, and that's like the one thing that Narcissa Malfoy actually did around the house was the laundry.
True. Weird.
All right.
Almost
Back
as
to it.
great a mystery as this before us.
Wobby stood up, looking the boy straight in the eyes.
You're right, little bite. Like you couldn't have take on a man of this strength, and that's because you want a boy.
Wombly walked to the boy, the hair on the back of his neck beginning to stand on end.
You're the reason we can't move time. You're the reason that we have to solve this mystery. You're a time loop.
The little boy gasped, then laughed minically.
And
Ooh.
now I will feed upon your life limitless time and train you till you're dead. The only way to get of the loop is to solve it.
The boy's eyes shifted to a bright yellowy flowing in the light.
If you didn't solve it soon, you'll have to stay here with me.
With that, the boy disappeared into the mist. Wait, mist? When did mist begin to appear? Wombly turned back to the scene and began to think.
Began.
What?
Beautiful.
The creature must have latched on the scene after it had happened. Happy?
Happed.
If we're the only ones trapped here, then the evidence must also be trapped in here with us.
He turned to his junior detective, with excitement in his eyes.
This dude has so much excitement in his eyes.
You should not use excitement in the morning.
Oh no. Quickly, I'll keep looking over the scene. You look around to see if there is another body. It's possible that the creature killed him in order to preserve the area.
Okay.
Said the junior detective, who I can't remember the nominee of in this moment. Time is short. Names aren't important. Junior ran off into the field.
I was expecting so much more gusto to that.
Oh, you want more? I can give you more.
I
can give you more gusto.
I can give you more. Time is short. Names aren't important.
Thank you.
Junior ran off into the fields surrounding the area, looking for anything that could indicate that there was another body. Up until now, they had assumed that there was just one. To his surprise, a food peeked out from a bush near Bayou.
Yummy.
He got closer and noticed a familiar-looking figure. It was Cheesecake. Is that the shepherd boy?
Wimbly Wallambly Woo pointed at the boy and shouted to his companion.
McEdinboshire, catch that lad and bring him right here. We cannot allow him to escape.
The young Scotsman sprinted Ona Il Fours
Hello?
and quickly caught up with the boy.
As the Scots do.
He dragged him back. What?
Yeah, at this point, I also stopped caring.
He dragged him back, kicking and screaming. Good, another piece to the puzzle. Wait, that was it! Wimby jumped in shock at his own revelation. In order to break out of the Timnaloop, he needed to solve the mystery, which was strewn about like a puzzle. I mean, that's another good way to spell puzzle, I guess.
A puzzle.
Puzzle.
Puzzle. Oh, puzzle.
It's pieces everywhere, just like the shredded clothing. Wimby made his way over to the pile of tatters that McEdenboshire had collected. He began piecing them together as a kid would a puzzle.
Brought him right over, sir.
His junior companion declared triumphantly.
Giraffe me.
The boy raged.
Why do we need him, Inspector?
As he can tell us where the horse is.
Wimby explained.
I don't follow you.
McEdenboshire said.
We need the horse because it is a key to solving this mystery.
The shirt was entirely put back together, unremarkable except for how it had been shredded.
Now bring me the lantern and what little oil it has.
Wimbley said, lighting a match. Still holding the struggling kid in one hand, McEdenboshire brought over the lantern. Wimby opened the lantern's remaining oil on the shirt and then dropped his match. The evidence went a balze. The junior constable protested, but Wimby held out a hand. A map was burned into the wee gris. A map leading to the picture of a monster and the solution to the mystery and time loop.
Convenient.
Convenient, yes.
That was perfect, yes, of course.
He said, turning to the boy.
We're going to need to know where that horse is so we can catch a killer.
Is he not the killer?
I thought he was.
Whoever's reading this next page needs to be very brave.
I'm fluent in, I've been learning,
In gibberish.
what's that one code? Yeah, I've been learning that one coding language, so I can't think of what it is, though. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, let's do it. Yeah, I've been learning JavaScript.
There you go. It totally does look like...
That actually explains.
Like there are... Yeah. It explains a lot because I have been coding right before I wrote this. So
yeah, I think your brain hadn't switched over. You were just so fluent.
That right there, that's, some HTML.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's all that is.
Nuts.
What's your name, son?
Wumbly asked. Oh, God.
Like I'd give it to you. That actually made sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
the boy said, struggling against the small hands of McEldenshire that helped in place. Fat fete, the last syllable he spat onto ground. / McGoovers. I mean, Wimbley's eye. McGoovers, I mean, Wimbley's eye lingered for a moment on the splittle on the ground.
That's all right, son. Y.O. don't have to tell me your name. Just tell me where the horse is.
Never, you dirty pigs can go right in.
Smack! McEdlinshire supplanted the boy across the face, his curse dying with the surprise.
Okay, nice one, Jimmy.
Wembley Sia. Wembley's actually Sia? Oh my god, the mystery deepens. I've got stamina. I've got stamina, and I'm cursed in a time loop. Anyway, continue.
This is taking a whole new turn.
My name is not Jimmy, Sir Wembley, McEldenshire said with the mix.
Oh, no. I know, but that's not important right now.
This line right here is everything that we've done. My name is not Jimmy Sir Wobbly, Eldenshire with the mix.
Can I get a 10-piece nugget? A 5-piece nugget? No, 10-piece. That's what I mixed. That's what I mixed.
Wow.
All right, continue.
I died a little bit.
My soul's leaving my body. All right, continue, Wembley.
I know, but that's not important right now.
Wembley sighed. Then he got close. The foes of the boy beguined held by McEldenshire.
Let
Wembley.
me level with you, bucko chums. You can cooperate, and we can let you go free. Otherwise, I can find at least 3 things that you don't already done in us he past 3 minutes to get you to a home in the slammer already. It's your choice.
Man, with a threat like that. You don't already done it us in the last 3 minutes.
We went from Scotland to Boston.
Yeah.
That's slammer.
With that, the bye got real quiet.
The bye got real quiet.
The bye got really quiet.
All right.
He said after a moment.
It's in the stable just north of here. It's my grandpapa's stable. Sable. You gotta understand. I didn't mean anything by taking the horse. It came running by with one with it. No owner in sight.
Oh, God.
I've been needling a horse since Betsy died. So I thought...
Betsy dies.
Since Betsy dies. Future tense.
She will die eventually. I need an extra.
We all die.
I
Not
think
the
my
time
muscle
loop.
relaxers are working.
Oh, no.
So I thought a lost horse would be just fine.
Wombley looked the man up and down with his stink eyes.
All right, Sonny.
He said, pulling out a length of rope. Oh, God.
You have done a lot of misdeeds, but unfortunately, Natalie, I suppose I cannot let you go with a blind eye.
Oh, God.
What was I thinking when I wrote this?
Miss
Wallenby let the boy wrapped in rope over a thick trunk tree, set the rope so it wrapped it, and tied the man's bindings to the rope.
The Kuwan
You know.
Belays will be by shortly to pick you up.
The Sir Wombley sighed. Yeah, in the time loop. The constables are going to get into this time loop. Yeah, let's do it.
I think the fact that it's a time loop is completely lost at this point.
Yeah, it's true. Anyone can enter, no one can leave.
Exactly.
This is jail enough. He's lonely. He just wanted an extra horse for when Betsy dies. He didn't mean nothing by it.
I'm dead.
All right. So the Sir Wallenby sighed.
But sir, you decided that you was set me free if I told you. I'll
Ill.
Oh, I will. Not if the horse is not there. We'll be back with some
I only care about the horse.
and some more of McElden's sharp smacks.
With that, they looked towards where the boy indicated the house ray was. They were so close. If they could just Fine. I'll find this horse and end the time loop. They could end the time loop. They could. But Sir Wallenby, McEldenshire squeaked from his side, is it all right just leaving the boy there tied to that tree? You died. You would let him go if he told you.
I did. I did say Dahat.
Wumbly said.
But don't worry, I didn't tie the rope very tight, so he should be able to get out. Plus,
that just makes it all better.
Plus, if he had been lying about the horse, then he would have stopped us when I threatened that we will be back. He will be all right. He'll be all right.
He'd be all right.
He'd be aight.
He'll be all right. McEldenshire beamed up at Mumbly with a toothy grin.
Now let's go find that horse and end this whole massive mess.
Oh man, this whole massive mess.
That page was a mess. Thank you.
I really liked reading in HTML. I've never actually, I'm learning the language, but I've never really gotten a chance to speak it. And you just learn the language so much better when you can converse with people.
Oh my gosh.
The sentence where you just kept saying rope like over and over again was, I think, my favorite part. It was like, just in case we're not clear here, rope. I honestly thought he was going to tie him a noose.
If I had thought of that, I should have.
Oh my god.
Well, that could be in the second draft. This is the first draft, obviously. Changes can be made.
Second draft, we're going to pass it through Google Translate and see what happens.
Oh my god, we have to do that.
Camille, you haven't narrated at all.
Not.
Yeah, get in this mess.
I wrote this page, so I'm not afraid.
You probably should.
It's going to be even better. She doesn't fear herself.
No.
I fear myself.
You should.
Yeah, with good reason.
I am. I'm very afraid.
They started on the road at a quick pace, winding up the path of the old boy, Minchin, the way to his home. Wallenby started to furl, rather stuffy under his coat, and he noticed that a line of sweat had line his forehead despite the cool weather. He just wanted this day to be over. He wished he had never come out to the moor in the first place. It didn't take them long to reach what they had assumed was the boys' home. A small cottage with a thatched roof stood at the base of a hill. Beside it was a small stable and fenced-off area with scrawny... That I actually wrote that kind of sounds like a slur. Scrawny... I'm going to pretend that N's not there. Chickens. As the two men approached, the birds stopped their clucking and started blankly backing at them. Huh? Oh, and stared... Nope, I wrote started. Their clucking and started blankly back at them, unmoving. A rooster gave out a low sound, more like a growl than a crow or a cluck. Wallenby hurried his pace, but never by their reaction to the vice ortress. Beyond the Chuckians, there was no loader sign of life. If the
Lotor, what's he doing
family, they may have been inside, but no smoker sound indicated that they were home.
Should we just take the horse and go?
McEdenshire asked.
McEdenbobo.
Just in case there is someone home, we shouldn't try and break into the stable. We could try knocking and explaining the kid situation.
What is the situation?
I don't know.
It's a good question. McEdenborough nodded, and the Toho headed for the door. Wallenby _, knocked on the door with two short raps against the wood. The sound of the latch gave way, and after a moment, and through the door opened slowly with a creak. Inside it was dark, with a barren fireplace immediately to the left. Wallenby hesitated before stepping inside, a sudden unease coming over him. "Hello?" he called out nervously.
Stark silence met his query on the other side, and he carefully stepped over the door stopping to look into the house. He thought he heard something further inside, and he chose to wander in and investigate. His eyes adjusted to the gloom for a second before his sight was assaulted by a burst of light as the fireplace raged to life. In an empty-appearing chair sat beckoningly in its fierce light.
McEdenshire,
Wimbley said.
please go round back and see what other life is present in this place.
Are you sure? I wouldn't like to be alone here.
The young fella said.
I will be fine.
Willoughby replied. He heard his assistant's footsteps retreating away before he moved into the cottage further. Other than a sparse table, a fireplace, and a hewn mat on the floor, there was nothing special to the place. Yet the chair continued to draw his eye. Lesser than sign. He eyed the tally marks up and down its legs, numbering in the hundreds. He chose to sat in the chair, but regretted it instantly after Fianli Gittigden done with his perusal of the place.
Death awaits.
Death awaits.
Oh, even better.
Never mind.
A soft sylvan voice whispered.
Welcome, Tati Boundary.
Another boomed. None who had heard these voices before had lived to tell their tale,
A foolish mistake.
said another.
Doth now the dead speak to me?
Wallenby asked.
The dead watch, the living stumble, the dead laugh.
Hittered the ovis of a young girl.
That was
really good.
spooky. I like that.
Thank you.
Do you torture me so?
Do it.
Tis only an initiation.
Shouted an old woman.
She's French.
An entrance to a fold.
Another murmured. Wimbley felt himself grabbed forcefully, knocked over, and pulled away from the Kahir with force.
Sir, get yourself together.
McEdenbachlan cried.
The backyard. That's me. The backyard was filled with graves, and I found you here about to ascend from your skin.
It certainly is a fearsome place, a fearsome place.
Wimbley said.
How many graves did you say?
About as many as the tally marks on the chair here.
Mac Ellenbutt said.
Poor lad.
I would think it's best that the likes of us do not remain in such a place, for only the dead do speak in the shepherd's boy's hut.
Wallenby said. They left, but chose not to wander back Raud, but further up the hill past the rows of graves to the peak of the nearby hill to get a look at the world around.
I like that it was like passed over that apparently McEldenblocken found Wembley about to ascend from his skin, and we just like didn't get any like visuals on that.
No.
Like, why did you just say that so casually? Have you seen that before?
This is a
Oh,
normal Tuesday for
It
him.
happens every Friday.
Yeah.
All right.
After a small hike, the pair arrived at the top of the hill. The graves spanned all the way up, and it was surprising to see that none of them had reached the top of the hill wheat yet. Looking down upon the galley, it looked like an ordinary town. Huts here and there, even a church in the distance. Wombley could even see the area of the cart was.
There must be something different about the air that we can see to help us out.
Exclaimed Wimby.
/ swear. I think that you're going to want to see this.
McEldenshire said, a bit of fear in his voice. Wimby turned around to see a giant tree, its branches overhanging over the hill and shadowing the area, the trunk of the tree looking dark and twisted.
This must be the grave of our shepherd boy.
Wembley said, looking over the tree. Upon closer investigation, he could see tiny faces spooting out of the wood, almost as if they were all locked in time, screaming in pain.
He definitely draws power from this area.
That strangely works.
Sir, I love it when you use that lingo, that newfangled lingo there. What do you think we should do about it? We must be doing something to get out of here.
McEldenshire said. Wimby. Every time.
It's a little different every time.
It is. My brain doesn't do well with different words. Wimby sat for a moment, thinking of all the possibilities of what they could do to this tree. What? If they destroyed it to Ood, they'd be let out of this foul hellscape? Or Weud? It trapped them here forever. He bagging, pacing around the tree, looking for any sign of something that could use to figure out this dat-erdly poosel. Ooh, no.
That naturally poosel.
I don't like the word poosel.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Upon further investigation, Wimby, I notice a small carving upon the tree.
McEdenshire, Do you have any idea what these runes mean?
G asked, looking at them closer.
Never seen anything like that before in me life, sir.
McEldenshire said, looking at them as well.
These must be what's keeping the area enchanted. We must see what we can do about them.
Wimby said, excited to find something that could help them.
We must try and destroy them and...
Find.
Final find.
Or it could be Findal. I guess you could say Findal.
To Findle
Yeah.
find. I like to Findley find stuff too. Wimbley pressed his hand against the tree trunk, feeling the runes carved into the sharp bark.
McEldenshire,
He sighs, dropping his hand to his side,
grab an axe from the Gravekeeper's tool sheet.
as if in response to his wards, and as if it was a threat, the tree began to shudder. A strong gust of wind blew through the graveyard, and the leaves in the tree canopy seemed to scream in delight. Looking back at the trunk, the runes began to glow with a bright lie. Mist enveloped the graveyard in an and it's not underlined in red.
I know, that's the I think Google just was like, I
Obviously.
give up. I don't know.
In an
These
island of swirl, a spark crack shot through the air. At first, Wimblewat, it would be a branch cracking into a wind, but the world itself began to shake, and a fissure opened up, splitting the area in two.
Lars,
Not
when you
as
said-
in two.
When you said Wimbley Wathod, it like crackled, and it strangely works even better that way.
Yes.
Quickly, McEldenshire, find that axe man. We will break this curse and leave this time loop, even if it kills us.
I don't want to die, though, sir.
Neither do I!
The crack in the earth came straight towards the center of the graveyard. Two Ards, the tree, and Wimbley, the two detective, broke Aoya, diving in opposite directions from each halter.
Run, McEldenshire.
The boy nodded, hopping up to his feet and making his way to the tool shed. The earth continued to tremble and rip apart. The crack into ground make a full circle around the tree, and now it began to rise up. The leaves on the tree began to glow with the same ghostly light as the runes into a bark did. Wimbley sat stunned at the view in front of him. This was not what he thought a life of sleuthing out in the countryside would bring. Suddenly, another sharp gust blew through the yard, bringing with it the smell of death. A crackling laugh bubbled up over the sound of the wind, originating deep within the crack into our earth.
Sir!
McEldenshire hollered, grabbing Wimbledon's attention. He spun to see his companion on the other side of the rift, tossed the axe towards him, and landed with a solid thump in the ground. Behind it, a ghostly, shadowed, hooded figure emerged from the trench, blocking out the view to McEldenshire. A lump grew in his Wimbley's throat as he looked down at the axe that lay between him and the specter. Could he reach it in time?
Guess there's no other choice.
He said to no one but himself, and took off at a run towards it. Just as he reached the axe, the spectre swooped with a deathly squeal, but Wimbley was able to sidestep its attack. How? Now, with the axe in his hand, he made towards the tree. Hovering in the air above the ground, tendrils of roots sticking out of the lump of the dirt that held the tree. The tree tip was now ablaze with the ethereal light. It burned like a fire, but let off a bone-chilling cold heat that shook Wimbley to the core. He was sure how he would get to the top to chop down the tree, but years on the beat had taught him to think on his toes. He nearly there when he heard the ghastly wail of the spectre, followed by a sharp yank backwards. Oh yeah, from the tree.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, this is the final page. That last thing was the only thing I had context for. So I'm just going to read this through for you guys.
I
Sit
do.
back and relax.
Before you do that, I do love the fact that somehow this was by far the most competent thing that I wrote. Yeah, coherent. This you could almost follow this.
Yeah, like that. Like I was like, well, this is certainly not a murder mystery, but all right, sure, let's roll with this. Anyway, I have my dark academia playing. Sit back and relax, my children.
Ooh.
Wimbley let out a gasp as he spun about, the axe swiftly cutting through the air and the spectre. The blade sliced through the ghost with no effect. Wimbley let out a shriek as the horrible wraith closed in on his vision. A weight suddenly pounded into him, toppling his weight to the ground. Then Wimbley opened his eyes and saw the good boy, McEldenshire, that had somehow managed to jump the garage and tackle him to the ground before the ghost could finish its mission. Wimbley realized his clothes. He could actually see the face of the ghost beneath its hood. By Jove! Wimbley suddenly cried out, the realization dawning on him. It all made sense. McEldenshire! Don't you see it? Wimbley cried, pointing to the spectre, now floating mere feet from them. None of this is real! This is all a dream! Oh, McEldenshire exclaimed as the world began to ripple around them. The LSD they'd taken earlier now kicking in. No. Wait, McEldenshire proclaimed. When did we take LSD? Don't you remember, young squire? Sir Wimbley asked as the world began to ripple around them again, almost as if a flashback was starting. Unfortunately, none of that mattered, as it wasn't a dream. His was a nightmare. The ghost rushed into the two as they were chilling on the ground. With their minds, In their minds, they saw the face of the dead man. Flash, throw, 3 hallucinations. Wimbley gasped, pulling his mind back into reality. New theory, he cried, rising from the ground in a haste. You're the ghost of the dead man, we're meant to find. Wimbley pointed at the hooded figure now floating above them. You're the one who trapped us in this time loop. What do you want from us? From in the air, the wraith began to speak, a raspy, gutted sound. I was killed along the road here 25 years ago, near that very tree. The tree somehow preserved my spirit, making me unable to leave this realm. At first, I trapped people in this loop using the power of the tree, trying to convince them to destroy it, until I realized how unfair that I was dead and they weren't. If they cut down with this tree, then I would never have my vengeance against the one who slain me. So instead I began to lure them in. Those I thought might have been my murderer, but none of them would confess, so I let the tree consume them. The tree glowed hungrily. Wimbley saw McEldenshire take a nervous gulp. He had to keep the ghost talking. So why trap us here? Wimbley asked. I got tired of doing the detective work myself, so I arranged for you to be hired to find my killer and lead them back here. That doesn't make any sense. That wasn't the arrangement at all. Yes, it was, the ghost replied. Oh, maybe it was. I don't know. Oh, maybe it was. I don't know. Wimbley muttered. The LSD's some mad mess with his brain scramble. I needed you to do the one simple thing, and you couldn't even do that. After all that you didn't even find my killed. It would be my killer, first of all. Sheesh. You think you know how to speak. Wimbley's really struggling right now. Second of all, we did find your killer. Oh, really? The ghost whispered. Then who was it? Wimbley coughed, straightened his tie, and took a breath. The butler did it. The ghost was silent. Are you freaking kidding me? What butler? There was no butler. There was no butler. Ah, and that's why you never saw it coming. Butler, those sneaky fellows. The ghost roared as lightning flashed above him. It's tree time, baby! You're both dead! Wait a second. Hey, stop. What are you doing over there? McEldenshire stopped, backing into the tree and looking over guiltily. He snuck over to the tree's trunk while Wimbley had been accusing some random butler of the crime and began chopping down the tree. Blue, glowing ooze began to spill from its side, but his weak little baby arms weren't strong enough to get a clean cut completely in. The ghost bellowed and lunged at McEldenshire. Wimbley yelled, trying to close the distance before the ghost consumed his young companion, but he wasn't fast enough. In a blur, and for no clear reason, McEldenshire pressed his mouth into the cut of the tree, sucking out some of its ethereal light. Again, no idea why he did that. It was probably the LSD. Light burst from within McEldenshire. The tree was now under his control. I banish thy thane, ghostly eye! McEldenshire screamed! The ghost screamed! Wimbley screamed! Ah! And suddenly, everything went black for Wimbley. And then he awoke he was lying in the woods where it all began. Maybe. Everything was sort of fuzzy. Then we remembered McEldenshire. Good boy! Where did the god boy go?
Where's the god boy?
Where's the god boy? Wembley called into the woods. Then he saw it. The tree. It was no longer in the cemetery where they found it, but stood in front of it was McEldenshire. Favorite boy, Wembley called and ran towards him. No, don't! McEldenshire called, roots exploding around him. Wembley stumbled back, aghast. I belong to the tree now, Sir Wembley, McEldenshire explained somberly. Also, my name is apparently McEldenshire now. The tree has given me a new name as its time loop master. No, I won't leave you, my boy, Wembley cowled out. McEldenshire gave a rad smile, as well as a sad one. The tree's roots came up from the ground and hugged Wembley. You have to go on to do great things, sir. I'll be right here if you need me, somehow using this power to help you and keep a uniform timeline, or I'll get bored and start screwing with humanity. The roots squeezed Wembley a little tighter as Wembley wept. You've always been like a father to me, Wimble.
No!
Wembley embraced the roots. The fan artist won't see it that way. McEldenshire nodded understandingly. McEldenshire nodded understandingly. It's true, nothing can stop those monsters, not even Time Tree. With that, the tree disappeared, and Wembley was left standing in the woods.
We did it, guys.
Oh, no. That was perfect.
No.
The fanfic won't see it that way.
It's true, nothing can stop those monsters. Not even Time Tree.
Not even McEldenshire.
I need fan art of McEldenshire and women.
No, you don't, Lars.
No.
Stop.
Ask and you shall receive, but it'll cost you a pretty penny for damages to my soul.
Oh my god.
We did it, guys. We got through whatever the heck that was.
That was perfect. That was beautiful.
Bravo.
Oh my
That was beautiful.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm just going to say this. This right here was like everything that Stuck and Beborking should have been, but never became.
Yes.
We have officially redeemed that awful Writer's Roulette.
We don't speak of that.
We don't speak of that.
No.
It's not real. It's not real.
It never existed.
Don't even ask. Whenever we get a Patreon, that will never be an option.
The first rule of that particular Writer's Roulette is that there is no that Writer's Roulette. We don't even speak
exactly. No.
Yeah, the part
this.
I'm sure there's like a part for all of you guys, but I mean, I for some reason, just because I knew that whatever I was going to see was going to be absolute chaos.
Yeah.
I had already decided no matter what I received, at some point I would say, yeah, there's LSD involved here. That's what's going on here. Okay. But I think the part that I actually lost was when I mistyped McEldenshire's McEldenshire and then I wrote Scree. And that's when I started just crying alone in a room. I was completely alone in my room and I was yelling at the sky.
McEldenshire Scree.
Scree. Put that on the shirt.
McEldenshire Scree. The ghost screamed. Really screamed. Oh my god. Well, we did it.
Oh my gosh! And when I chose the name McEldenshire, I was like, this name is meant to torment people.
Well, so was Wembley Wallenby.
It was Wimby Wallenby, actually. It just became Wembley the rest of the entire thing. I never once called him Wimby. I never once called him Wembley. Or Wimby. I didn't even know that was his name until we started.
Yeah. I didn't know what Eldenshire's name was until we started.
Yeah, fair, true. Oh my god. Wembley was really struggling right now. Me struggling.
I think so. Here's the three highlights. You are a good mind and have eyes. That was a good one. My name's not Jimmy, Sir Wallenby. Eldensshire with the mix said, and McEldenshire Scree. Those are going on the T-shirt for sure.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
All three of those. Those are gold.
Yeah, we needed to wrap this up. So the butler did it, obviously.
Yeah.
If it wasn't
the butler, it's the cook.
Are you freaking kidding me? What butler? There was no butler. There was never any butler.
I love that. That was where I just lost it when I was reading this. So like it's like preview, like okay, like do we actually add anything? Right when I got to the butler, I lost.
I know. I looked in and I saw the first thing I saw when I read this was McElden Shite Scree, and I was like, "Oh yes, McElden Shite. This is perfect."
Obviously.
Sorry, everyone from Scotland who is somehow listening to this.
It wasn't really.
We've butchered everything to do with Scotland. We apologize, but we're not that sorry. Butchered.
We butchered.
We need to have time to let our brains recover. They've been torn apart by all of the misspellings. So we need to have time to let our minds recuperate after that helping experience.
Our minds are misspelt right now.
Yeah, everything in my mind doesn't seem right anymore. I can't trust myself.
If this is what drugs feels like.
Is this what drugs feel like?
It's apparently what LSD feels like for McElden Shite, our good boy.
Our good boy. The God boy.
Our God boy. The LSD they'd taken earlier now kicking in. When do we take LSD? Don't you remember? Obviously. I'm sure it happened before we even started writing.
Yeah.
They
it was when they left the
our
office.
Creation. Like it was on the right up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, well that was fun.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a particular section from your from all of your gobbledygook? By the way, y'all blamed Camille for this going completely off the ropes, but I think I would blame Mr. Typing in HTML here.
Yeah.
This going wild.
Well, Camille's the one who turned it into a time loop, and it was all the better for it. So thank you.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know, Camille. I didn't know at what point this became your creation, but I was like on the lookout for someone to be like, and this is when Camille turned it into time loop time. But no one ever brought it up, so I was just kind of like, all right, okay, I guess everyone's just going with this time loop thing. It's happening.
So, let's see here. It was let's see here on page 6 because I wrote page 6 and like at this point like I was already beginning to be like, wait, what? When I misspelled my own character's name, Mick Edinbosha. It's like, oh no, I'm in trouble.
Well, we're on the path towards descent now.
Yeah, we were before, and like Camille was right. Like, how many times did we actually look over the same clues again?
Yeah, we literally just did the same thing for 5 pages, and then Camille's like, okay, time to fix this.
We're doing time loop. Thank you, Camille. Yeah, I was actually thinking that at some point. I was like, I feel like we've gone over this. We need to find the horse or whatever. I don't know. I guess I'm just happy that I ended with whose was it that I read last?
That was mine.
All right, I'm happy I read yours last. Because it was some real chaos fuel right there.
Yes.
It was a nice culmination of all of the chaos building up. So thank you, everybody. Did anyone have a particular part? That was a part. Was a part.
That was a part.
I'm struggling.
Oh, yeah, that was the part.
Did anyone have a part that they particularly thought they did really well writing, or was this all just spew for everybody?
I feel like I took LSD trying to read this.
I thought
it was
for
a fun experience.
You end up pulling off so well that I wrote somewhere up there, just like it was good. It was like spine chilling.
Wait, what part? Oh wait, the part that I read like a little girl ghost.
Stumble, the dead
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
That was super good. I'm like, I've got chills.
Well, thank you. That was my creepy little British accent voice. That was, I don't know. I guess it's for occasions like this.
Who wrote page 13?
Page 13.
I think it was
very well done. Very well done.
Yeah, no, like I like that. Like that was really good. Say when because we finally got away from the scene of the crime.
Yeah, we were at the scene of the crime for so long.
Yeah, so we get to the house, and then actually going into the house, like things get really creepy, and then Nate took it Nate actually like really took it to places right there. Like I like really finally moving the story along, and then Zaza just wraps it up.
That was my goal. I was like, you know what? We need to have something like exciting happen. And so as much of a like just a shitstorm that it was, like I feel like page 15 was so much fun. This was the funnest part for me to write, and I think that it was like I think it was probably my best writing, at least in in this. Definitely not, standalone my best writing, but
But I think this is such an important exercise because I know, like, I don't know for everybody, but I know that for myself as a writer, I have a tendency to swivel towards the philosophical because I'm in my own mind and everything has to be serious and everything has to make sense. And it's so important sometimes to just let your brain go absolutely feral.
Yeah.
And just
for sure.
just write stuff like that you wouldn't normally write. Like it's important to make yourself laugh in your writing, to see, like, try different genres of things that you don't normally write. And this is a great exercise for that. So any writers, like people listening to this, just do this. Even if you're not a good writer, just do this with your friends. It's very funny.
It's so much fun.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it's been like doing this was an absolute blast. It's been too long since we had last done a writer's roulette, and this is one of those things where, like, I've talked with other people, I've pitched this idea to other people as well, like outside the harem, and they're just like, I don't know if I could do that because like they like being in control of what they write, and so do I. But yeah, just being able to like let go and like roll with things and just laugh.
You learn to have
laugh
so much
at
fun.
your own mistakes. It's so cathartic. It's hilarious, and it's just on. And like we actually have like a legit story right here. So
yeah, we can probably cut out like the first like 6 pages, and then like it'll like when they're still when they're actually. Oh my God, no! It's poetic. They're stuck in a time loop, and we're stuck at the scene of that crime for like 6 or 7 pages over and over again. They're going over the same stuff. They are in fact stuck in a time loop, guys. We brought it back around. High fives!
exactly. High fives all around.
It wasn't until they acknowledged the time loop that they could break out of it.
And thus is revealed Camille's genius in including the time loop.
Exactly.
You know what's up. Yeah, you knew what was up. You saw the predicament. We're stuck in a time loop.
I feel like
it.
For anybody who is interested in doing something like this, but don't feel like they can, like the whole writer's roulette, and I may have said this before, but I feel like this is a lot like drawing with pen. Like learning to draw with pen builds so much confidence in like the way you put down lines. And I feel like this is a very similar exercise. It builds confidence in just sitting down and starting to write,
Yeah, it's basically the doodling for writers. Like this is writing doodles.
That's a great name. Why didn't we call it writing doodles?
Because it just now occurred to me. I'm sorry. I wasn't there earlier.
You weren't here when when we created Writer's Roulette.
Yeah, but I like Writer's Roulette better. It adds a it shows the risk of what everyone's about to experience. But yeah,
we'll have to keep that for like another time. Maybe call that your first draft, your writer's doodles.
Yeah, because like for me, like when I was in quotes learning to draw, I feel like people think like you have to like sit down and very meticulously learn how to draw. No, just doodle. That's how I learned to draw. You just sit doodle in the corners of pages and if you're just absentmindedly doodling, that's where I learned the most stuff. So like do that, but with writing, just absentmindedly write and see where your brain goes. It'll be stupid, but like, you know what? I've drawn plenty of frogs wearing top hats in the corners of my homework. So like this is the frog top hat of writing.
But let's see. I wrote Wimbly Wallenby Woo. I don't know. Have any of you guys remember like this old nursery rhyme? I'm Willenby Wallenby Wabbit. An elephant sat on the rabbit.
Nope.
Okay, maybe it's just me and my family then. But
is it like to the tune of Hickory Dickory Dock, the mouse ran up the clock?
You could put it to that, but it went Willenby Wallenby Wabbit. The elephant sat on the rabbit. Willenby Wallenby Webbered. The elephant sat on the leopard.
Okay, so now we have our anthropomorphic furry versions of these characters.
Yeah.
So Wallenby is an elephant, and Mick Eldenshire is a rabbit, and then we have a leopard for the shepherd / Grim Reaper / whatever the heck else he was.
Yeah.
So the fan artists, you monsters, you can get on that.
You monsters. We look down our noses at you. But we also please give it us.
Yeah, please give it us, please. I can say that knowing I can say that full well knowing that I am I have done fan art, but not in the way that I'm implying. Yeah. So I am, I'm a I'm gonna lay on the floor and die.
Yeah, I need to. I need to have that like as a sticker. You have a good brain and eye.
You have a good mind and eye.
I need to.
You have a good mind and eye. I need that as a sticker, and I can like slap that on students that say something smart. Like, here you go.
That's really important in a detective, is having a good mind and eyes. Oh, but man,
You have
imagine
eyes.
a blind,
Good job.
imagine having like a blind detective though that has to like solve crimes through their other senses. That's actually not a bad idea, and I will take that now. Thank you.
Daredevil, but you could probably have more fun.
Yeah, because Daredevil's not a detective; he's a lawyer, but he doesn't really do too much lawyering. He mostly causes the crimes.
Yeah,
I guess he's deflecting the crimes, but he really do be snapping necks out there.
Snapping necks.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thanks so much for joining us for this awesome adventure of writing. Camille, do you want to give us a good old-fashioned outro?
Oh, actually, wait. Could I give people my socials real quick?
Absolutely.
Yes, real
Plug
quick.
those puppers.
All right. So since the last time that I've been on the show, thanks again for having me, guys. Me and my art partner, have planned out and are now in pre-production. For the first chapter of our very own webcomic.
We've read it. It's awesome.
Woo!
yes,
So
it's really
thank
good.
you guys so much. Yes, Camille's Harem has beta tested the chapter, so thank you so much for sampling it. So me and my partner, Riddle and I have been posting concept art and progress art to our Instagram pages.
Mm-hmm.
So check us out at Zaza_Inc. and Riddles_Rune, RUNE, Rune, for updates and information. Thank you.
Yeah. And I will say this is a lot of fun to see them because not only do you just get some pictures, but sometimes you also even get a little bit of animation. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that took forever, but it's very fun. All right. Anyway, thank you for letting me do that. All right.
Camille?
All right. Now been a while. It's been a hot minute.
Honestly, just our Discord. And that's the
our
only one
brains
that
are
matters.
melting.
Yeah, if you want to follow along on our adventures, feel free to join our Discord where we have just a community of fun writers chit-chatting away.
And you can find that on our YouTube channel descriptions.
Yeah, which we also post on more frequently, so I'd
Yeah.
say the podcast is on a bit of a hiatus right now. So those two are really like the main enchilada,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, this
They
is the
love me.
side enchilada, and then YouTube is the main enchilada.
this is like the
Yeah.
beans and rice right now.
The beans and rice. You
Yeah.
want the good cheesy enchilada, go over to Discord and YouTube.